Dear students, now we are going to discuss differences between inorganic catalyst, organic catalyst, biocatalyst, and enzyme. And after that, what is the role of an enzyme? Enzyme is able to bring about a chemical conversion of a substrate into product. What is that chemical reaction? What is a catalyzed reaction, uncatalyzed reaction? What is inorganic chemical reaction, organic chemical reaction? And how do enzymes are able to bring about high rates of chemical conversion? How they are able to accelerate rate of the reaction? So first of all, differences between inorganic catalyst industrially used and organic catalyst working in our body, our plants. So what are the differences between those two? Many differences are there. Out of all those, the most important difference is differences between inorganic and organic catalyst. Here, organic catalyst is an enzyme. Inorganic is industrially used for various purposes, whatever it is. So differences between enzyme and this one. So what about inorganic catalyst? Is able to catalyze a reaction, able to work. It can work very efficiently at a high temperature and pressure. So here inorganic catalyst is a thermostatic, able to withstand a high temperature. And what about organic catalyst? That is an enzyme. Okay. So enzymes are sensitive to temperature. So what is that sensitive at high temperature? As they are proteins, they are subjected to denaturation, breaking of bonds present in that protein, particularly between amino acids, sensitive to temperature. So optimum temperature is particularly 25 to 40 degrees. Beyond that level, if it is more than 40 degrees, enzyme is subjected to denaturation. So denaturation or permanent damage if the temperature is greater than 40 degrees temperature. But what about these enzymes, inorganic catalysts? They are able to regulate that reaction at a high temperature, 100 or 200 or whatever the temperature and pressure. So thermal stability is a very important factor that is able to decide a catalytic activity performed by that enzyme. So most of the enzymes are thermolabile. Most of the enzymes are mostly thermolabile. Okay, so thermolabile means not able to withstand high temperature, are subjected to denaturation. Thermolabile, liable for damage, susceptible for damage, easily degraded. Only some enzymes, some are Thermostatic. Thermostatic enzymes. Thermostatic enzymes. Thermolabile, thermosensitive. So most of the enzymes are thermolabile. Reason they are the proteinaceous one. But what about a certain number of enzymes? Thermostatic enzymes from thermophilic bacteria or thermophilic organisms. Thermophilic organisms are microbes which are able to survive in hot vent, chimneys like that, chimneys or exhaust pipes. Certain number of bacteria are able to survive there also. Extreme low temperature, extreme high temperature. So enzymes isolated from thermophilic bacteria, which are able to live in vents, hot springs also, sulfur springs also with more temperature. Go back to PCR technique, tag polymerase. That is the best example for this one. Thermus aquaticus bacterium, tag polymerase. Thermus aquaticus DNA dependent DNA polymerase concerned with gene cloning, that is a PCR technique. Thermus aquaticus bacterium, thermophilic bacterium. Okay, so most of the enzymes are thermosensitive labile. Only some are thermostatic. But what about inorganic catalyst? It is always maximum extent when compared relatively, it is a thermostatic. So at low temperature, if the temperature is very low, enzymes are inactive, not permanently. If conditions are favorable, if the temperature is optimum, they are able to resume their catalytic activity. So at low temperature, what about the fate of enzyme? It remains inactive, not permanently damaged, not permanently inactive. For example, enzyme at high temperature, definitely, permanently that enzyme is denatured. We can't bring that enzyme back. So permanently, that high temperature is rendering the enzyme, making the enzyme not suitable for biochemical reactions. So many differences are there between inorganic catalyst and organic catalyst. Now, our focus on enzymes. What is the role of enzyme? Enzyme is able to regulate are able to catalyze reactions. Here I'm taking biochemical reactions. Catalysis. What is that catalysis? Regulation of rate of the reaction during which substrate is converted into product. Substrate is converted into product. What is substrate? A reactant. For example, in chemistry, A gives rise to B. A is reactant, B is the product, for example. So A is substrate on which concerned enzyme is acting. If enzyme is acting on it, that will be converted into product. So that is a reaction. Now we have to know what is a reaction. So what is a chemical reaction? Chemical reaction. What is chemical reaction? So in chemical reaction, two events are present. One is, first one, physical change. Physical change. So that a chemical reaction involves two types of events. Physical change in the substrate. So substrate is morphologically changed, shape changed, or state of matter changed. So physical change involves change in shape, means morphology. Biologically, we can take that one, shape. Morphological change. Definitely, substrate is transformed into product. During transformation, the state of matter of substrate is converted into state of matter of the product. Definitely, there will be a change in between the morphology of those two. So change in shape and a change in state of matter. State of matter without breaking and making of bonds. Making of bonds. In our textbook, some examples given. For example, ice into water. Solid one, ice, solid one. Transformation of that one into liquid phase or water. Okay, so change in the state of matter or not, liquid phase. Or further, evaporation of that water. So ice into water, water into vapor. Generally, these are the physical changes. Change in the morphology or state of matter. And second one, chemical changes. What is that chemical change? Chemical change means breaking and making of bonds. It involves breaking and making of bonds. So chemical reaction involves physical changes, chemical changes. These two are regulated by that enzyme. So enzymes are able to bring about high rates of chemical conversion. So before moving into rate of the reaction and high rates of chemical conversion, we have to know what are the types of chemical reactions. Types of chemical reactions. Two are there. One is on the base of a type of the substrate involved. First one, inorganic chemical reaction. Inorganic chemical reaction. Only inorganic components are involved. Given reaction in our textbook. So many are there. Ba, barium hydroxide, BaOH2, inorganic. There is no carbon. H2SO4, sulfuric acid. Okay, so BaSO4, barium sulfate plus 2H2O. That is definitely inorganic chemical reaction. Just example. Next one, what are the examples for organic chemical reactions? Organic chemical reactions. What are the examples? One by one. First one, conversion of glucose. Glucose into. Glucose is partially oxidized into two molecules of pyruvic acid. So this is a glycolysis. With 10 reactions, each reaction is regulated by a particular enzyme. So 10 enzymes are involved. So here enzymes required. Enzyme number definitely 10 enzymes required. So there is a partial oxidation. This is a catabolism. Catabolism. And the given reaction C6H12O6 plus one molecule of O2 gives rise to molecules of pyruvic acid C3. H2. Okay, so this is a glycolysis, catabolism, organic chemical reaction, oxidation of glucose molecule. This is one. Next, Lactic acid fermentation. Lactic acid fermentation. So what is the end product of glycolysis? Two molecules of pyruvic acids. So lactic acid, two molecules of pyruvic acid is reduced into two molecules of lactic acid. This is also organic chemical reaction. Example, lactobacillus. For this one, bacterium name lactobacillus. Conversion of milk into curd, lactic acid fermentation. In our skeletal muscles also, skeletal muscles of mammals. So skeletal muscles are not able to get enough amount of oxygen. So that's why they can perform lactic acid fermentation. So skeletal muscles are facultative anaerobic cells, basically aerobic cells only. Skeletal muscles, facultative anaerobic cells, only skeletal muscles. Don't take lactobacillus. What is a facultative anaerobe? Basically aerobe, able to perform anaerobic respiration in the absence of oxygen. What about mammals and human beings? Obligate aerobes. We are obligate aerobes. Without oxygen, we can't survive. Definitely will die. But what about a certain number of cells present in our body? Deep-seated cells, which are not able to get enough amount of oxygen. They can perform anaerobic respiration if sufficient amount of oxygen is not available. So those cells are called as facultative anaerobic cells. So like that, we can write thousands of reactions. So here, reaction is a single or a multi-step reaction. Most of the metabolic reactions are linked reactions, involves a number of reactions. All these reactions in a particular metabolic pathway, collectively called as metabolic pathway. So metabolic pathway means with many linked reactions. That metabolic pathway is nothing but a conversion of one substrate into product into again product. That is formation of metabolites, primary metabolites. Okay, so metabolic pathways with a certain number of reactions, they are either linear reactions. Linear means straight, or cyclic reactions, cyclic metabolic pathways. So that's about organic and inorganic chemical reactions. Next. So what is the role of enzyme? Able to convert substrate into product. Now we have to look into what are the differences between catalyzed reactions and uncatalyzed reactions. So role of enzyme is able to increase productivity. How to understand the role of enzyme? First one, uncatalyzed reaction. Uncatalyzed means in the absence of a particular enzyme. Uncatalyzed reaction. Okay, so for example, dissolution of CO2, carbon dioxide, dissolution of CO2 in H2O. Addition of CO2 to water. There is no enzyme. It's the reversible reaction. Okay, so product is a carbonic acid, H2CO3, carbonic acid, carbonic acid. This is carbonic acid. And there is no enzyme. How to understand the rate of the reaction? Here, rate of the reaction is, for example, take a 200 CO2 molecules and 200 H2O molecules. And what about the total number of H2CO3? 200 H2CO3. So according to our textbook standards, per hour, per 1 hour, what about the number of products formed? How many H2CO3 produced? 200 H2CO3 minus. So 200 per hour. Okay. So in 1 hour time, 200 CO2 reacted with 200 H2O molecules. The product is 200 H2CO3. This is uncatalyzed reaction, no enzyme, without enzyme. No enzyme. And the same reaction, take same reaction, catalyzed reaction. Catalyzed reaction in the presence of an enzyme isolated from or present in the cytoplasm. What is that enzyme? CO2. How many CO2? 6 lakh. L I'm writing 6 lakh of CO2 reacting with 6 lakh of H2O molecules. Given a period of time is 1 second. And what about the products? 6 lakh H2CO3 minus. Okay, so 6 lakhs produced. Here enzyme is a carbonic anhydrase isolated from cytoplasm or present in cytoplasm. Carbonic anhydrase. Okay, right? So here per hour 200 and convert this one into 1 hour and check the variation between and how many times, almost 10 million times. 10 million times or not. Here 1 hour time given, here 1 second only per second. Per second, 6 lakh. Okay, so calculate that number per hour. Per second, 6 lakh. So 6 lakh into 60 into 60. Multiply it. The variation is how many times, number of times. So how much variation? 10 million times. Compare it. So that is a variation between uncatalyzed and catalyzed reaction. Same reactant, same products. The variation is a rate of the reaction. In the absence of enzyme, in the presence of enzyme. See the difference. More number of products, less number of products. For example, a lesson was not taught by concerned faculty properly or no teaching, for example. Only student is preparing by himself. What about the time required? Too much time is consumed. Result, very less. Next, catalyzed reaction, faculty involved, assignments, question papers, textbook, micro level teaching, interlinked teaching, ultimate teaching, for example. Now the student is able to read the textbook very easily or not. Without teaching, 1 hour time consumed to read one paper, for example, 1 page. After teaching, just 1 second reading. See the difference. So without teaching, uncatalyzed. With teaching, catalyzed reaction like that. So enzymes are able to bring about high rates of chemical conversion or not? Definitely. See the difference. That is the difference between uncatalyzed and catalyzed reactions. So what is the rate of the reaction? How to decide a rate of a reaction? Rate of reaction is delta, small differences, delta products formed in a given period of time, delta T. So simply total number of products formed in unit period of time. You will get a rate of the reaction. Here unit period of time may be second or minute or hour, it depends. Okay, so that's about a rate of the reaction with and without catalysis. So definitely enzymes are more efficient, able to synthesize, able to convert a number of reactants, substrates into products. So definitely enzymes, very, very important or not. Their role is incredible or not. It's a wonderful role performed by enzymes or not, definitely. Without enzymes, definitely there will be no anabolic reaction, no catabolic reaction. Growth and development of any organism is because of cumulative effect, collective effect of both anabolic and catabolic reactions. And these two are regulated by reactions. So this reaction is both uncatalyzed and catalyzed. So this is possible in uncatalyzed conditions and catalyzed conditions. Okay, next. The given statement, for example, 0 degrees of temperature. Temperature is 0. 0 degrees of temperature. So temperature is raised from 0 to 10 degrees, for example. At 0 degrees, products 0, for example. Product is 0. For example, on 0 products. 10 degree rise means what about the number of products? 10 products. For example, so that is the reaction. Now increase the temperature for every 10 degrees, 10 degree rise in temperature. What about the products? 20 products. And continue it. For example, only one more 10 degrees, 40 products. For every 10 degree rise in temperature, what about the rate of the reaction? Doubled. It is up to certain extent only. Okay, so any further increase is associated with a decline in rate of reaction. Okay, for example, 10 degree rise from 40 to 50, for example. Next, 40 to, for example, 50 degrees. What about the rate of the reaction? So here rate of the reaction is 40, for example. So now 40 is changed into 20 degrees. 20 products. Now 60 degrees, 10 only. So for every 10 degree temperature change, increase is associated with either doubling the rate of the reaction or decreasing the rate of the reaction. Either doubled or decrease the same quantity or not. Equal amount. For example, 0 to 10 degrees, 0 to 10, for example. 10 to 20 degrees. Take like this, wait. For every 10 degree rise, I will give you separately, wait. For example, temperature is 0 temperature to 10 degrees, 10 to 20 degrees, 20 to 40 degrees, 30 degrees, sorry. 30 degrees, 30 to 40 degrees, for example, end it here. So what about the products? This one is a temperature product, 0, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 40, and so on. Continue it. Wait. 40, 40 to 80. So 10 into 20, 20 into 40, 40 into 80. Doubled or not for every 10 degrees temperature. And furtherly, increase the temperature, 40 to 50 degrees. Reduce to half products. Their 80, now it is a 40 only, 40 products. Okay. So here, right here, 40. Next 40, 60 to 50 to 60 degrees. What about productivity? 20 products on. And 70 degrees, 10 products on. So for every 10-degree increase in temperature is associated with either doubling the rate of the reaction or reducing the rate of the reaction half to the previous one. Okay, so temperature is able to, out of all the factors, so many factors are there, not only temperature. So many factors are there. Out of all these factors, most important one is temperature. Reason, thermal stability of that enzyme is in question. Means not in question. Most of the enzymes are thermolabile, thermosensitive. Only some are stable. So for every 10-degree rise, what about the rate of the reaction? Either doubled or reduced to half. So that's about the rate of the reaction. So here rate of the reaction is nothing but number of products formed in a given period of time. So according to catalyzed and uncatalyzed reactions by carbonic anhydrase, that is conversion of CO to H2O into so-called carbonic acid, 6 lakh carbonic acids per second. What about the rate of the reaction? 10 million times. So how do enzymes are able to bring about such high rates of chemical conversion? So how do enzymes able to bring about such high rates of chemical conversion? Too much lengthiest heading. This was based on catalyzed reaction. The question is how that carbonic anhydrase is able to bring about such high rate of chemical conversion. For example, one textbook is given to, for example, plant physiology or some content is given to one student. One student completed the topic within 1 hour. Next student, half an hour. Next student, 10 minutes only. Next student, just 5 minutes only. So it is variable or not? So like that, catalyzed reaction is able to bring about a high rate of conversion of substrate into product. How is it possible? That is the thing we have to discuss. And before moving into such a bring about such high rates of chemical conversion, what about the mechanism of enzyme action? Little bit. For example, this is an enzyme. In the tertiary structure of enzyme, 3D binding sites are present. Certain number of binding sites. Here I'm taking one binding site. This is an enzyme. And that enzyme is concerned with conversion of a specific substrate into product. Always enzyme and substrate are specific, like a lock and key. A particular key is able to open a particular lock only, specific or not. So like that, now this enzyme is accepting a substrate. For example, this is a substrate. A substrate. The substrate, some substrate, whatever it is, reactant. Okay, so once the substrate is nearest to the binding site, this is binding site, active site, pocket, crevices, cleft also. So enzyme at 3D, three-dimensional or tertiary level, definitely with binding sites are not, definitely binding sites are present, pockets are present. Okay, so the substrate is able to diffuse into product. So here, that substrate is able to bring about some change in dimensions of the binding site. For example, we are eating something, for example, small one. See, on the base of size of this one, for example, KFC. So what about this? The dimensions of this to accept material, it depends on size of the material or not. Small one chocolate, large one, we're taking like that or not. So the substrate is able to induce the rate of opening, means expansion of mouth or not. So like that, substrate is able to induce the enzyme to change dimensions of binding site according to morphology of substrate. Okay. So now these two are associated. Physical association is mandated. So substrate binded with concerned enzyme. So substrate, enzyme, complex. These two are associated with each other. So this one is called as enzyme substrate complex. So this association is a transient, temporary only, not permanent. Transient association, temporary only. Now enzyme is able to bring about physical and chemical changes. Okay, so gives rise enzyme. Directly I'm taking product. In between product, substrate and product, a number of unstable compounds are there. We'll see that one later. So this one is a enzyme product complex. Now dissociation of a enzyme and product complex, product released out. So here, this one transient, this one also transient, temporary only. Now enzyme is able to perform same reaction again and again. So that's about the mechanism of action of enzyme to convert substrate into product. Now the question is, how do enzymes are able to bring about such high rates of chemical conversion? That is in the case of carbonic anhydrase. So to understand that, we need a graph. We have to go to one graph. That graph is what about that graph? With the help of graph, we can understand that concept. Okay. So enzymes are, for example, this one is a y-axis, a graph that explains us high rates of chemical conversions by enzyme. Okay, right? So y-axis with potential energy. Potential energy. Here I'm taking PE, potential energy, or energy required by system or substrate. So this one is a progression of a reaction, rate of the reaction. Okay, right? Substrate is here. Take one substrate, dummy one, substrate. So this is the substrate. Definitely, each and every substrate is with some amount of energy. For example, only at a ground state, this is ground state. Ground state, use your chemistry knowledge. Ground state. At ground state, what about the amount of energy present in substrate is, for example, only 10 kilocalories of energy, free energy. Okay, so free energy means with the help of which the substrate or something is able to perform some work. So 10 kilocalories of energy. Okay, so now this substrate is excited from ground state to high energy level. Okay, right? So this is a transition state. high energy level. Okay, so how much amount of energy? 10 kilo, for example. Now that substrate is here. Okay, so what about the energy here in this substrate, for example, only? Okay, so here now at transition level, what about the energy present in the substrate? First case, for example, only total amount is, for example, 100 kilocalories of energy, for example, only. So for the excitation of a substrate at ground level, from ground level to excited state, transition level, high energy level, what about the amount of energy consumed? 90 kilocalories of energy consumed or not? So 10 kilocalories plus 90 kilocalories, for example, only 100 kilocalories. So in the absence of enzyme, how much amount of energy consumed? So no enzyme here, energy consumed, Gibbs free energy. How much? 90 kilocalories of energy used by the substrate to reach high energy level. So more amount of energy is consumed. Okay, so here substrate is excited from ground state to transition level, high energy level. From there onwards, it is converted into product. Compulsory substrate should reach a transition state or not. For that, how much amount of energy consumed? 90. So what is the energy difference between substrate at ground state, substrate at transition state? 90 or not? Go back. So here, substrate at transition state with 100 kilocalories of energy, for example, minus basic energy, means the substrate already having some amount of energy, 10 kilocalories, minus substrate 90 kilocalories. How much consumed? 90 kilocalories of energy is consumed in the absence of enzyme. There is no enzyme. Now, in the presence of enzyme, what about the activation energy consumed by that? Or Gibbs free energy consumed by that? Or energy consumed by that? Convert into product. Okay. So what this is the energy level that is required for that one. So in the presence of enzyme, these values are not real, just to understand the concept here I'm giving. So at transition level, what about the energy present in the catalysis reaction now? Okay, so at this level, now the substrate is, for example, only in the presence of enzyme. Substrate is with how much, for example, 50 kilocalories. Initially, how much? 10 kilocalories. Externally consumed 40. Total 50 kilocalories. The difference is 40 kilocalories. See here, what about the energy consumed here? In this case, 40 kilocalories. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? How much? 50 kilocalories. So in the absence of enzyme, 50 kilocalories of energy is excessively consumed or not? But what about in the presence of an enzyme? Just only 40 kilocalories. Too much excess consumed or not? Okay, too much consumed. So what about the role of enzyme? It is able to accelerate rate of the reaction by bringing down energy levels, energy consumed by the substrate. So under these conditions, in the presence of enzyme, definitely more number of products are formed or not? Again, 40 kilocalories, two substrates like that. So what about the role of enzyme? Able to accelerate rate of the reaction by reducing activation energy consumed by the substrate. Like how? a teacher or a faculty is able to reduce the time consumed by the student to read a topic by teaching it. Otherwise, for example, no teaching, 2 hours time consumed. With the teaching, half an hour only. Within half an hour, the student is able to command it. So faculty, for example, is able to increase the rate of the reaction by reducing the time consumed by the student to read a topic. Is or not? Right? So that is about so-called how do enzymes are able to bring about such high rates of chemical conversion by reducing activation energy consumed by the substrate. And one more thing. So during conversion of, for example, substrate, transition state, and product. This is also very, very important. Go back to chemical reaction. Substrate is subjected to physical and chemical changes. So during conversion of substrate to product, a number of unstable compounds are produced. What are they? For example, S1, dummy one, S2, S3, S4, P1, P2, P3, P4. And all these from S1 to P4 between substrate and product. A number of unstable compounds are produced. They are called as a transition structural states of matter or altered states of matter. Transition state of matter, altered states of matter, structural states of matter, simply unstable compounds. These are the unstable compounds. Highly unstable. So during or in between substrate and product, many unstable compounds are produced. One to many are produced. Okay. Next, on the base of this graph, we can say there are two types of chemical reactions. What are they? One is exothermic reaction and second one is endothermic reaction. On the base of energy consumption or energy liberation. Reactions are of two types. First one, exothermic reactions. Exothermic reaction. So exothermic reaction means energy is liberated out. Energy is not consumed or less consumed. So for example, substrate at a high energy level. For example, on a dummy diagram, substrate at high energy level with more energy. Okay, and a substrate is at less energy. Product at low energy. For the conversion of substrate into product, under these conditions, product at less energy, substrate with more energy. Simple understand. Glucose molecule with more amount of energy. And what about oxidation products of complete oxidation products of glucose molecule CO2 and H2O? For the conversion of glucose into CO2 and H2O, no energy is consumed or less amount of energy is consumed. Definitely, maximum amount of energy is liberated out. So energy is from the system, from the oxidation of that one. Exothermic reactions are spontaneous reactions. Exothermic are spontaneous reactions. For example, some amount of food into the stomach. Okay. For the digestion and oxidation of that material, less amount of energy or no energy is consumed. That digestion process, respiration process is exothermic reaction generally. So exothermic reaction is a spontaneous reaction. You need not to supply any temperature energy to convert substrate into product. Spontaneous reaction. There is no need to supply energy in the form of heat or chemical energy or ATP or whatever it is. no energy consumed or less energy consumed. Instead of that, high amount of energy is liberated out. And second one, endothermic reactions. Endothermic reaction. Endo, inside. Exo means outside. So in this case, substrate at low energy. Energy is very less. For example, CO2 and H2O, for example, one. Conversion of CO2, H2O into glucose molecule, product, for example. Product at high energy. High energy. You can take a CO2 plus H2O, for example, only. Less energy or not. And what about a glucose molecule? Product is glucose molecule. Glucose molecule. Definitely, input of energy is required. Energy is whatever the type of energy, overall energy, sunlight, required or not? Energy. Go back to 10th class, ATP, NADP, HH plus. Assimilatory power. So in this case, endo means inside. Energy is consuming reaction. Energy is energy consuming reaction. So on the base of energy consumptions, there are two types of reactions: exothermic reaction, endothermic reaction. Whatever the type of reaction, exothermic or endothermic, definitely enzyme should pass through high energy level transition state. That is compulsory for all type of substrates. Means minimum amount of energy is required. Compulsory they have to pass through exothermic reaction. Wait, exothermic reactions. Yeah, exothermic reactions, energy is released. Energy. Okay, so in exothermic reactions, energy is liberated out. Endothermic energy is consumed. And whatever the type of reaction, compulsory, each and every substrate should pass through high energy level, transition state. That may be with a small amount or more amount of energy. So that's about how do enzymes are able to bring about such high rates of chemical conversion. So in the presence of enzyme, the amount of energy consumed by that one is very less. So like that, enzymes are able to bring about high rates of chemical conversion.